I am the true daughter who has been found. And the system wants me to tear into them. My biological mother held the fake daughter tightly. Even though you are my flesh and blood. Yao Yao has been with us for 18 years. And we can't do without her. The system roared. Quick. Flip the table. Curse them for being biased. I nodded. That's quite normal, isn't it? 18 years of emotional bonding versus 18 years of blood relation. If it were me, I would also choose the emotional connection. After all, blood relation is just a biological probability. While emotions are a sunk cost. My biological mother was stunned. My fiancé slapped the check on my face. Take the money and leave. I don't love country bumpkins. The system screamed. Quick. Tear up the check. Say don't bully the young just because they are poor. I put the check away. This is quite normal. A forced relationship is never sweet. And besides, this check even comes with a breakup fee. It's simply a conscience of the industry. My fiancé was dumbfounded. System failure. Host. I beg you. Go a little crazy. The plot can't move forward. Me. I'm perfectly normal. It's you guys who are overacting. In the living room of the Shen family villa, the air conditioning was cranked up high, but I could still smell a strong scent of green tea. My biological mother, Madame Shen, was at that moment tightly embracing the fake heiress who had occupied my life for 18 years. Xin Yao. Xin Yao was crying like a rain-drenched pear blossom. Her shoulders shaking as if she might stop breathing at any moment. Madame Shen was patting her back while looking at me with an extremely complicated expression. Qing Rua. Even though you are my biological child, Yao Yao has been with us for 18 years. And this bond cannot simply be severed. We can't live without her. I hope you can understand how hard it is for Mom. Standing beside them, Shen's father also sighed, clasping his hands behind his back and remaining silent. Clearly tacitly approving of this attitude, the system in his mind suddenly exploded. Host, can you really tolerate this? Hurry. Rush up and scold this pair of dog men and women. No. This pair of confused parents. Flip the coffee table. Tell them that blood is thicker than water. You are the one and only true heiress. The system was so loud it gave me a headache. I raised my hand to rub my temples and, under the tense gaze of the Shen family of three, nodded. I understand. I truly understand. Xin Yao's sobbing suddenly ceased. Her tear-drenched eyelashes fluttered, clearly taken aback by my reaction. Madame Shen was also taken aback. You don't blame Mom. I found a single sofa to sit down, relaxed in posture. As if I were discussing an inconsequential project with the client. This is very normal. After 18 years of feelings and 18 years of blood ties, I would choose feelings too. After all, blood ties are merely a biological probability event, while feelings are the real sunk cost. I pointed at the high-end dress on Xin Yao and then at the knockoff clothing I was wearing. You have invested 18 years of money, time, and energy in her, like nurturing a top-tier account. And now you suddenly want to switch to a new one and start over. Anyone would be reluctant. This is an economic principle. I understand. The living room was dead silent. Madame Shen's expression was like she had swallowed a fly. She wanted to explain something, but my logic left her speechless. The system in my mind collapsed and shouted, Host, what nonsense are you talking? You need to vie for favor. You need to slap faces. I ignored the system and turned to Xin Yao. My tone sincere. You keep crying. Don't worry about me. I'm just a newly hired intern still getting used to the company. Oh no. The family environment. Xin Yao was clearly a professional-level high-end player. After a brief moment of shock, she immediately adjusted her tactics. She broke free from Madame Shen's embrace, her eyes red, and nervously walked up to me, timidly reaching out her hand. Sister, I'm sorry. It's all my fault. I took your place. If you're unhappy, I can move out. If this were the original story, at this point I should have slapped her or spoken harshly, and then been scolded by our parents. The system roared again. The opportunity has come. Quick. Call her a green tea bitch. Tell her to get lost. I looked at Xin Yao's meticulously manicured hands, And instead of holding them, I took out a packet of wet wipes from my bag and handed it to her. Don't say that. The house is registered under Mr. and Mrs. Shen's names. Legally speaking, we are all just guests residing here. I paused for a moment and continued in a tone as if discussing an academic issue. And where would you go if you moved out? You don't own any property. You lack the means to live independently. Renting would only lead to being exploited by brokers. And staying in a hotel is too expensive. As a rational person, staying here is the most beneficial choice. If I were you, I would also refuse to move out. Xin Yao's hand, which was suspended in the air, froze. She had prepared a belly full of lines about retreating to advance. But they were all choked back by my blunt honesty. Her act of sacrificing everything for love transformed into a harsh realism of clinging on for survival in my eyes. Father Shen could finally bear it no longer and frowned. Qing Rua, how can you speak like that? Yao Yao is your sister. What do you mean by clinging or not? This is her home too. I immediately nodded. Obedient as an excellent employee who just received orders from the boss. All right, Mr. Shen. I will remember that Miss Xin Yao has permanent residency. May I ask? Where is my workspace? No. Where is my room? Mr. Shen was slightly taken aback by my distant address of Mr. Shen, and his expression grew somewhat unpleasant. Let the butler take you to the guest room. The butler was a middle-aged man in his 50s. And his gaze towards me held a hint of disdain. It is clear that in this household, the direction is quite evident. He brought me to a room at the end of the second floor. Miss, the rooms in the house are tight. Miss Yao Yao has a lot of belongings, occupying 2 rooms. So you have to endure and stay here for now. This room is shaded, with a small window, containing only a bed and a wardrobe, with not even a decent desk. In contrast, as I passed by Xin Yao's room, I saw the walk-in closet, the large balcony, and the complete set of pink furniture inside. The system buzzed in anger. Too arrogant. This must be the maid's room. Right. Host. Go smash Xin Yao's room. Take it back. I looked around and nodded in satisfaction. Pretty good. The poor lighting is suitable for sleeping. The small space saves on electricity, and it's far from the stairway. Quiet. The barbed remarks the butler had prepared fell flat, as if they were striking cotton. He looked at me in disbelief. Miss, you aren't angry. I put down my luggage and took out my laptop. What's there to be angry about? I'm a newcomer, just arrived at the company, just back home, with no achievements, no qualifications. Having an independent office is already quite good. Am I still expecting to walk straight into the CEO's office? I looked at the butler with sincere eyes and asked, by the way, what's the Wi-Fi password at home? Is the internet speed fast? I still have to work late tonight. The butler opened his mouth, but in the end, all he managed to spit out was a string of numbers before he left dejectedly. I closed the door, but the system continued to nag me. Are you stupid? They're humiliating you. I opened my computer, connected to the Wi-Fi, and checked the stock market. The system. You're too emotional. Will humiliation make me lose weight? No. But if I break something out of anger, I'll have to pay for it. I only have $200 on me right now, and I can't afford to pay. At dinner time, the atmosphere at the table was so odd it made one feel indigestion. Madame Shen kept serving dishes and peeling shrimp for Xin Yao to showcase her maternal love. Yao Yao, you've lost weight lately. You should eat more of this. Xin Yao threw me a provocative glance and said with a delicate tone, thank you, Mommy. You're the best to me. Shen's father occasionally served soup to Xin Yao, and the harmonious atmosphere among the 3 of them made me feel like a stranger at a shared table. System. Flip the table. Quick. Spill the soup on Xin Yao's face. I looked down and quickly ate my rice. But I maintained a graceful manner. Years of being a corporate slave have honed my ability to resolve conflicts in 5 minutes. After all, lunchtime is precious. Madame Shen seems to have finally found her conscience, as she put a piece of rib into my bowl. Qing Rua, you should eat too. Don't just focus on your meal. The piece of rib was covered in green peppers that Xin Yao didn't like. I looked at the pork rib. Without moving, Xin Yao immediately spoke up. Sister, are you dissatisfied with the dishes Mom served? Sister, you probably can't find such good pork ribs in the countryside. Right. I put down my chopsticks and wiped my mouth with a napkin. It's not dissatisfaction. I'm just full. I stood up and gave a slight bow to Mr. and Mrs. Shen. Thank you for your hospitality. The meal was very much to my taste. If there are no other instructions, I will return to my room to handle some work. Mr. Shen was taken aback for a moment. Work? You just got back. Why not stay and chat with us? I glanced at the clock on the wall. It's now 7:30 in the evening. A time for personal moments. And since I see you all having such a great time chatting, I think intervening would disrupt the atmosphere. As a new employee, as a newcomer, one must be perceptive. Having said that, I turned and walked away, leaving 3 bewildered faces behind me. I vaguely heard Madame Sheng complain. This child is like a robot, completely lacking in warmth. A slight smile curled at the corners of my mouth. Human warmth. That's something only humans possess. In your eyes, I'm merely an intruder with a blood relationship. Talking about human warmth is too extravagant. It's much easier to discuss the rules. Early the next morning, the Shin family's villa welcomed an uninvited guest, Gu Beichen, Xin Yao's fiancé, and also the fiancé that should have originally belonged to me. This man is indeed well-dressed, wearing a tailored suit, his hair slicked back meticulously, but his gaze is just too dull. As soon as he entered, he saw me getting ready to leave for work, actually to go to the library to enjoy the air conditioning and save on electricity bills. Gu Beichen said nothing and took out a check from his pocket, tossing it lightly onto me. The check floated down to the ground. 5 million. Take the money and roll. I don't love country bumpkins. Gu Beichen looked down from his high position, his tone arrogant and cool. Xin Yao stood at the staircase, covering her mouth and stifling a laugh. The system was so excited that its voice cracked. Tear up the check. Hurry. Throw it in his face. Tell him not to underestimate the young and poor. 30 years in the east of the river. 30 years in the west of the river. I bent down and picked up the check. After carefully inspecting the numbers, signature, and seal, I confirmed it was genuine. Then, I took out a small notebook and a pen that I carried with me. Mr. Gu, just a moment. I quickly scribbled a few lines and tore them off, handing them to Gu Beichen. Gu Beichen instinctively took it, glanced at it, and turned stiff. What is this? A receipt. I smiled in a professional and standard manner. Since you've paid the breakup fee, to avoid any future financial disputes, we still need to go through the process. It clearly states that I, having received 5 million yuan from Mr. Gu Beichen, voluntarily relinquished the engagement, with both money and goods exchanged. Non-refundable. Gu Beichen looked at me as if I were a monster. You accepted it just like that. What else could I do? I carefully tucked the check into the book. It's quite normal, isn't it? A forced relationship is never sweet. And besides, this came with a 5 million breakup fee, truly a conscience of the industry. Mr. Gu, you are indeed a generous client. I even thoughtfully added, do you need me to write a thank you letter to your company? Or clarify on social media that I'm not worthy of you? Gu Beichen's face instantly turned the color of liver. All the humiliating remarks he had prepared were completely silenced by my receipt. With this 5 million, my back straightened considerably. But I didn't splurge as the system hoped. Instead, I turned around and invested in a few stocks I was optimistic about. When I got home in the evening, the atmosphere in the Shin household was even more somber than yesterday. Mr. and Mrs. Shin were sitting on the sofa, while Xin Yao wiped her tears beside them. As soon as he saw me return, Mr. Shin slammed his hand on the table. Xin Qingrua, do you have no shame left? How could you take money from Beichen? Xin Yao sobbed. Sister, did you come back for money? If you're short on cash, I can give you my allowance. Why do you have to insult Bachan's feelings for me? System. Curse them back. Call them double standards. I changed into my slippers, walked to the center of the living room, and took a banner out of my bag. This is what I specially made this afternoon. The red banner with golden characters displayed 8 large words. Thank you for fulfilling my filial duty. Wishing you both 100 years of harmonious union. I solemnly handed the banner to Xin Yao. Sister, I have no qualms about taking this money. Think about it. The marriage contract was originally mine. And now it's yours. This 5 million can be considered my transfer fee for handing over my fiancé to you. In this day and age, one must pay a transfer fee just to take over a store, let alone for a prime asset like young Master Gu. Xin Yao looked at the banner, unsure whether to take it or not, her face turning pale. Mr. Xin shook with anger. Do you consider marriage a transaction? Marriage is essentially an economic contract, I said with a serious expression, since young Master Gu is willing to pay for true love. As the one offering a favor, if I don't accept money, wouldn't that make his true love seem very cheap? I looked at Xin Yao, my eyes encouraging. Sister, your love is worth 5 million. You should be happy. Xin Yao cried out and ran upstairs. Madam Xin pointed at me. You really infuriate me. I blinked innocently. Mom, I'm just trying to uphold my sister's dignity, perhaps to make up for Xin Yao's wounded spirit. Madam Xin decided to take us shopping at the mall over the weekend. Officially, she was buying me clothes. But as soon as we entered the mall, Madam Xin dragged Xin Yao straight to the luxury goods store. Yao, this dress suits you well. Go try it on. Yao, this handbag is the new model. It looks good on you. I felt like a little sidekick, trailing behind, holding the bags. System. Post. Grab the cards. Max out their cards. Show them who's the real deal. I watched Mrs. Xin calmly swipe the card, feeling no ripples within, even when Xin Yao tried on a light yellow dress. I proactively stepped forward. This color is too bright. It makes you look darker. I suggest you switch to that haze blue one. It'll complement your skin tone and accentuate your waist. Xin Yao watched me warily. Are you really being this nice? I'm doing this for the image of the Xin family, I said seriously. You are the facade of the Xin family. If you dress poorly, it reflects badly on us. As a member of the Xin family, I have the obligation to maintain our family brand image. Xin Yao reluctantly changed into the smog blue outfit. Sure enough, the effect was surprisingly good. Even the sales assistant praised. This young lady has great taste. Madam Xin looked at Xin Yao's beautiful appearance and originally wanted to ignore me, but now she felt a bit guilty. She picked up a t-shirt from the discount section and handed it to me. Qing Rua, why don't you try this one on? It was an off-season shirt. And even a bit pilled. System. Throw it on the ground. Step on it a couple of times. I took the clothes and looked at the tag. No need to try it on. This one has a high cotton content. It's sweat absorbent and breathable. Perfect for working at home. Thank you, Mom. I really like it. I wasn't angry at all. Instead, I sincerely expressed my gratitude. Madam Xin's hand froze in midair, and the expression on her face was absolutely splendid. Guilt is like a spring. The more you resist, the more the other person feels entitled. The more understanding you are, the more they feel inhuman. At this moment, Mrs. Xin clearly felt inhuman. Upon returning home, Xin Yao was obviously unwilling to accept that today's spotlight had been stolen from her, even though I didn't think it was spotlight at all. She deliberately tore apart Mrs. Xin's favorite pearl necklace in the living room. Pearls rolled all over the ground. Then she screamed, "Sister! How could you push me?" I was at least 2 meters away from her at the time, drinking water. Madam Xin and Father Xin rushed over upon hearing the noise. Seeing the messy scene and the crying Xin Yao pointed at me. Sister said she was jealous that Mom bought me something, so she pushed me and even broke my necklace. This low-level framing is simply an insult to my intelligence. Father Xin glared at me. Qing Rua, you have disappointed me too much. System. Explain. Quick. Explain. Say you have an alibi. I put down the cup of water inside. Then I took out my phone and dialed 110. Hello. Is this the police station? I need to report a crime. There has been a dispute involving intentional property damage, with a significant amount at stake. Please send someone to handle it. The whole family was stunned. Xinyao forgot to cry. You called the police? I nodded. When faced with difficulties, seeking help from the police is a basic civic duty. Private squabbles are too inefficient and easily lead to a Rashomon effect. Let the police take evidence, check fingerprints, and review the surveillance footage. It'll be clear who did it. Shen's father rushed over, trying to snatch my phone. Are you crazy? Family scandals should not be aired in public. I deftly dodged. Dad, this isn't a family scandal. This is the spirit of the rule of law. If I did it, I would willingly go to jail. If my sister fell accidentally, then this is defamation. Defamation also carries legal responsibility. Xinyao's face turned pale instantly. She just wanted me to get scolded. She never thought about getting me arrested. The police arrived quickly, seeing the scene in the villa. The two officers were somewhat bewildered. Who called the police? I raised my hand. I did. I pointed at the pearls on the ground. This Miss Xinyao accuses me of pushing her and damaging valuable items. But I assert my innocence. Please have the police take fingerprints from the necklace and check the surveillance footage in the living room. Mr. Shen's face turned ashen as he forced a smile at the police. It's a misunderstanding. All a misunderstanding. The children were just playing around. The police looked seriously at Father Shen. Making a false report is illegal. What exactly is going on? Shen Yao was trembling with fear, hiding behind Madame Shen and too scared to speak. I calmly said, since it's a misunderstanding, does that mean Miss Xinyao is admitting to lying? Xinyao bit her lip, staring at me fiercely, and finally had no choice but to nod. It was my fault for tripping. I misjudged. I thought my sister pushed me. The police lectured the Shen family, urging them to strengthen their family education and not waste police resources. After the police left, Shen father slumped onto the sofa, as if he had aged 10 years. He pointed at me, his finger trembling. You ungrateful daughter. Do you have to ruin this family? I innocently shrugged my shoulders. Dad, I'm helping Yao Yao. If her habitual lying isn't corrected in time, she'll suffer greatly when she enters society. I'm doing it for her own good. Only magic can defeat magic. Only logic can defeat emotion. Seeing the expressions on the faces of the Shen family, as if they had eaten poop, I felt an unprecedented sense of refreshment. After the incident involving the police, the Shen family developed a strange sense of fear towards me. They no longer easily cause me trouble, and even seem to avoid me. But this does not mean they have given up. Xin Yao's birthday party is about to be held. This is a significant event for the Shen family, and they will invite the city's elite. Madame Shen called me to her study and handed me a set of formal wear. Qing Rua. This banquet is very important. For now, we won't disclose your identity. Just say you're a distant cousin. You don't mind, do you? She was afraid I'd embarrass myself, and also worried about Xin Yao's discomfort. System. Refuse. You must loudly announce at the banquet that you are the true heiress. Smash their faces. I took the dress. It was a very ordinary black gown, suitable for standing in the corner as a backdrop. No objections. Absolutely none. I replied quickly. Being a distant relative sounds great. No need for socializing or toasting, and I can focus on the buffet. By the way, are the lobsters the limited edition ones that day? Mrs. Shin was once again defeated by my train of thought. All the comforting words she had prepared were stuck in her throat. Do you only care about eating? The people regard food as heaven, I said confidently. Besides, as a distant relative, my KPI is to eat well and drink well, without causing trouble for the host family. On the day of the banquet, the Shin family villa was brightly lit. Xin Yao, dressed in a custom haute couture gown, accepted the compliments of everyone like a princess. Gu Baichen stood beside her, and the two of them resembled a pair of flawless jade. I wore that black dress, hiding beside a corner table, intently peeling an Australian lobster. The system was frustrated. Host, look at how glamorous they are. You're just eating here. What about your dignity? Can dignity be eaten? This lobster cost several hundred. I dipped it in some sauce and took a bite, closing my eyes in satisfaction. At that moment, a weird and mocking voice rang out. Hey, isn't this the country bumpkin who took the money? What? Have you spent the 5 million already and come here to mooch a meal? Gu Baichen approached with a wine glass in hand, flanked by a few rich second-generation heirs. A mocking expression on his face. I wiped my hands and looked up at him. Master Gu, good evening. I haven't spent all 5 million yet, and the investment returns are pretty good. Thank you for your concern. Gu Baichen choked for a moment, then sneered. I heard you came here today as a distant relative. What's wrong? Too timid to acknowledge your biological parents. Surrounding people burst into laughter. I nodded. Yes. After all, the threshold of the Shen family is high. Someone like me from the countryside should have some self-awareness. However, Master Gu, I heard the Gu Corporation's stock price has dropped by 2 points recently. Yet you still have the mood to drink here. Your mindset is truly admirable. Gu Baichen's expression changed dramatically. What do you know about stocks? Shut up. I don't understand. But I know how to read the news. I pointed to the screen of my phone. The news just popped up that the logistics company under Gu's brand is suspected of illegal operations and is being investigated. Aren't you going to take that call? At that moment, Gu Baichen's phone rang. He glanced at the caller ID, and his face turned pale in an instant. Forgetting to mock me, he hurried away to take the call. The surrounding rich second-generation heirs exchanged glances, their eyes holding a bit more awe towards me. This woman, has she received special treatment with her mouth? Xin Yao had been paying attention to the commotion over here. Seeing that Gu Baichen had been driven away by me, she walked over with 2 glasses of red wine. Sister, don't blame Baichen. He's just straightforward. She handed me a glass of wine, her eyes shimmering. I knew it. The classic plot was about to unfold. She would spill the wine, then frame me for pushing her, or drench me in it to make me look foolish. System, drench her. Strike first. I took the wine glass but didn't drink from it. Instead, I casually placed it on the table beside me. I don't drink alcohol. It numbs my nerves and affects my judgment. Xin Yao gritted her teeth, suddenly slipped, and fell toward me, the red wine in her hand about to spill all over me. I swiftly sidestepped, my movements quick and agile. Bang! Xin Yao fell heavily to the ground. Red wine splashed all over her, and that expensive haute couture gown was instantly ruined. The entire venue fell into silence. All eyes were focused on her. Xin Yao lay on the ground, stunned for a second, then burst into tears. Sister, why did you push me? I know you're jealous of me, but today is my birthday. The whispers and pointing from the crowd surged like a tide. Who is this woman? So vicious. I heard they are poor relatives. Their jealousy is really strong. Mr. Shin and Mrs. Shin rushed over, and upon seeing this scene, Mr. Shin did not say a word and raised his hand to hit me. You wretched thing. My hand steadily caught Mr. Shen's wrist. Although I'm not very strong, I have practiced the skill of using leverage to my advantage. Mr. Shen, before you take action, I suggest you take a look at the evidence first. I took a miniature GoPro out of my handbag to document tonight's culinary delights. I recorded everything in video mode. That scene just now should have been captured very clearly. It was Miss Xin Yao who tripped over her own left foot and fell at least 10 centimeters away from me. I shook the camera in my hand. Do you need me to connect to the big screen now and replay some of the wonderful moments for everyone? Xin Yao's sobs choked once more. She trembled on the ground, not sure if it was from the cold or from fear. Shin's father's hand froze in midair, neither able to retract nor strike. I smiled and glanced around. Everyone. Although I'm a distant relative, I also have the rights of portrait and reputation. Who was it that just called me malicious? Should I have a talk with my lawyer? No one dared to speak. This was no simple country girl. She was practically a legal department director equipped with surveillance. The birthday party ended in disappointment. Xin Yao became the laughingstock of the whole city. Not only did she fall flat on her face, but she also attempted to frame someone and ended up getting slapped in the face instead. The atmosphere in the Shen family villa was at an all-time low. In the dead of night, my door was knocked upon. Madame Shen walked in, her eyes red and swollen, obviously just having cried. She sat by my bedside, watching me as I read, her voice hoarse. Qingrua, do you hate us? I closed the book Nonviolent Communication and looked at her calmly. Mom, hate is a strong emotion that requires immense energy. I don't hate you. I only have an objective understanding based on our blood relation. Madame Shen clutched her chest, seeming even more distressed. This child of mine, why are you always so cold when you speak? I'm your mother. Can't you be like Yao Yao? Be a little clingy with your mom, or throw a tantrum or something. I sighed. Mom, Xin Yao is acting cute to you because she needs to gain resources and a sense of security this way. As for me, I've already become accustomed to being self-sufficient. If you want me to act cute, that falls under extra emotional labor, and I would need to be compensated for it. Madame Shen was stunned, tears hanging on her face. A comical yet pitiable sight. Compensated. Just kidding. I handed her a tissue. What I mean is that everyone expresses their feelings differently. My rational approach might not suit your emotionally rich family atmosphere. So for everyone's good, once I save enough money, I will move out. Mrs. Shen panicked. Where are you? The young lady of the Shen family. Going to a place where I don't have to act, don't have to scheme, and can live well just by working hard. In that moment, I saw true panic in Mrs. Shen's eyes. She finally realized that she might really lose her biological daughter. It's not out of hatred, but because of indifference. Just as the parents of the Shen family fell into self-doubt, the beloved guardian of the Shen family returned. Shen Yi, the eldest son of the Shen family, a notorious sister-con. As soon as he returned and heard about the injustices Xin Yao had suffered, he rushed straight to my room. Xin Qingrua, you scheming girl, how dare you bully Yao Yao? Xin Yi was tall and handsome, but at that moment his face twisted in rage, like a mad dog guarding its food. He flipped my table with one sweep. System. Hit him. Use the pepper spray. I calmly looked at the mess on the floor and took out my phone to snap a photo. IKEA desk. Original price $12.99. Depreciation considering you $800. The laptop is broken. Repair costs are estimated at $2,000. Compensation for mental distress is charged separately. Young Master Shen. WeChat or Alipay. Xin Yi chuckled in anger. Are you dropping money in front of me? Do I lack this little money? Let me tell you. In this house, only Yao Yao is my sister. You better get lost quickly, or I'll make it impossible for you to survive in a city. I nodded and pressed the stop button on the voice recording function of my phone. Okay. Threats and intimidation have been documented. Young Master Shen. According to the criminal law, those who intimidate others with particularly severe circumstances can be detained for not less than 5 days and not more than 10 days. Do you want to settle this privately, or go through formal channels? Shen Yi was stunned for a moment, then became even more enraged, rushing forward to snatch the phone. You dare to record? I quickly slipped under the bed. This was my pre-planned safe haven. The space under the bed was too narrow for a bulky person like him to squeeze in. I shouted from under the bed. Help! There's a murder. The eldest son of the Shen family is trying to kill his own sister. The voice was piercing, with incredible penetrating power. The servants rushed upstairs, and even Mr. and Mrs. Shen were alerted, seeing Shen Yi sprawled on the floor trying to grab me, like a cat hunting a mouse. The scene was quite comical for a moment. Father Shen roared. Shen Yi, What are you doing? I poked my head out from under the bed. My hair a wild mess, but my eyes were very clear. Dad. My brother said I wouldn't be able to survive in City A. I thought to myself, I haven't done anything heinous, so why should I be blacklisted? Has the Shin family really become so powerful in City A that they can ignore the law? With that heavy accusation hanging over him, Father Shin's face turned green. The Shin family is applying for an IPO. And the last thing they need is this kind of negative publicity. Shin-yi was harshly slapped by Shin's father. Get back to your room and reflect on yourself. Shin-yi covered his face, looking at me in disbelief. I gave him a V sign. Competing with me. I'm a modern wage slave well-versed in labor law and criminal law. Shin-yi was grounded, but he clearly wasn't convinced. A few days later, when no one was home, he lured me to the underground garage, locked the door, and cut the power. The garage was pitch black, cold and damp. He laughed arrogantly outside the door. Shin Qingrua, you better reflect on yourself in there. When you beg for mercy, that's when I'll let you out. System. Host. Cry quickly. Bang on the door. It's too dark in there. I fished out my phone and turned on the flashlight. Beg for mercy. Why beg for mercy? It was quiet here. Cool. With no sounds of Shin Yao's crying or Mrs. Shen's nagging. Truly a perfect working environment. I found an abandoned cardboard box to sit on, set up my phone's hotspot, and connected my laptop. Thankfully, I have the habit of carrying my laptop with me. In these few hours, I handled several freelance translation assignments and reviewed the recent stock market trends. Incredibly efficient. 5 hours later, Father Shin returned, found that I was missing, and pressed Shin-yi until he finally opened the garage door. As soon as the door opened, light streamed in. Shin-yi expected to see me crying uncontrollably, utterly broken. As a result, he saw me grinning at the computer screen like an ant. It's risen. It's risen again. This round of short-term trading is amazing. I closed my laptop, stretched lazily, and looked at the stunned crowd at the door. Hey, everyone's here. Just in time. I'm hungry. What's for dinner? Shin-yi pointed at me as if he had seen a ghost. You aren't afraid of the dark. Afraid of the dark. I stood up and dusted off the dirt from my pants. I used to work late nights all the time. I've been through several power outages at the company. What's a little darkness? As long as there's electricity and Wi-Fi, I can survive. Madam Shin rushed over to hug me, crying uncontrollably. Qingrua, you scared your mother to death. Are you all right? I gently pushed her away and shook my phone. It's nothing. It's just that the signal isn't very good here, which slightly affects my internet speed. Can I choose a spot with better signal next time? Shen-yi completely collapsed. He thought I wasn't human, but a monster without any sense of fear. After this series of disturbances, the mental state of the Shen family continued to deteriorate. Madame Shen, consumed by guilt and anxiety, finally fell ill and was admitted to the hospital. Shin Yao cried at the bedside, utterly devastated, unable to even get water into her mother. Father Shin and Shin-yi also wore worried expressions, flustered and at a loss. When I arrived at the hospital, I first pulled Shin Yao away. Don't cry. You're disturbing the patient's rest. I then proficiently found the attending physician, inquired about the patient's condition, checked the lab reports, arranged for a caregiver, handled the admission procedures, and even exchanged a few words with the head nurse, asking her to take extra care. Everything was orderly, as if I were advancing a project. When Madame Shin woke up, she saw me peeling an apple. The peel was sliced thinly, forming a long strip without breaking. Qingrua. I handed her the cut apple pieces. The doctor said you have too much heart fire, and combined with menopause syndrome, you need to rest. I've already paid for the hospital fees using Mr. Shin's card. I've also hired a caregiver, a top-notch one, for 800 a day. Madame Shin looked at me, tears rolling down her cheeks again. Qingrua, you are still so filial. Beside her, Shin Yao's eyes turned red with jealousy. Elder sister just knows how to put on a show. She hasn't shed a single tear since mom fell ill. I wiped the fruit knife. Can tears heal? If they could, I would weep a whole Pacific Ocean. But in medical terms, tears provide only hydration and an outlet for emotions. They have no lethal effect on viruses and bacteria. What is needed now is rational decision-making and efficient execution. Father Shin looked at me, his gaze complex. For the first time, he realized that this daughter he had neglected was, in fact, the most reliable one in the family. Yet this kind of reliability was so cold that it left him feeling heartbroken. I was seen by Gu Beichin while taking care of Mrs. Shin at the hospital. He came to visit mainly to see Shen Yao, but saw me communicating with the doctor in fluent English about foreign treatment options in the hallway. At that moment, the aura of a professional woman emanating from me seemed to blind him. Gu Beichin stopped me and said, "Shin Qingrua, I didn't expect this side of you." I glanced at him and said, "Young Master Gu, what brings you here? If it's about retracting that 5 million, there's no way." Gu Beichin's expression darkened. "Who cares about that little money? What I'm saying is, maybe we can get to know each other again." He suddenly felt that compared to the whimpering Shen Yao, a shrewd and capable woman like me was far more appealing and better suited to be the young mistress of the Gu family system. Wow, the scumbag has changed his mind. Host, quickly slap his face. Say you can't climb that high. I took a step back, my face displaying disdain. Master Gu, this constitutes a breach of contract. We have already annulled the engagement, and the transactions are settled. Now you want to backtrack, which is called commercial fraud. Besides, I'm not interested in collecting trash, even if it's gilded trash. Gu Beichin, filled with angry humiliation, shouted, "Shin Qingrua, don't push your luck. Face is earned by oneself, not given by others." I maneuvered past him and strode away. Behind me, Shen Yao happened to come out and saw this scene. She watched Gu Beichin's gaze fixated on my back, jealousy almost bursting into flames in her eyes. Very well. The dog-eat-dog drama is about to begin. As my position in the Shin family became more and more secure thanks to my relentless confrontation that left them speechless, the system began to malfunction. It discovered that the original torture-themed plot was completely unfeasible. The villains not only failed to torment me, but instead, one by one, they were driven to hormonal imbalance by my provocations. System, host, I'm begging you, just go a little crazy. The plot breakage has reached 90. If this continues, the world will reboot. I am looking at real estate listings. I have saved enough for the down payment and am ready to buy a small apartment of my own. System, don't you understand yet? The underlying logic of this world isn't melodramatic. It's that the economic base determines the superstructure. As long as I have money and the ability, I decide how the plot unfolds. The system let out 2 beeps, then suddenly fell silent. After a moment, it switched to a mechanical voice. Host's logic has been detected as coherent. System upgrading. Upgrading to money-making system. I laughed. That's right. Those who know what's going on are the true heroes. Shen Yao finally couldn't sit still anymore. She realized that Gu Beichin was becoming increasingly distant towards her, while he constantly inquired about my news instead. So, she played her trump card. She was pregnant. Of course. It was a lie. She waved a forged ultrasound report, causing a scene at the Shen family, forcing Mr. and Mrs. Shen to make Gu Beichin marry her immediately. Gu Beichin found himself in a difficult position. Although reluctant, he had no choice but to agree due to public opinion and the pressure from the Shen family. On the eve of the wedding, Shen Yao rushed into my room to show off. "Sister, no matter how you try to seduce Beichin, in the end, I will be the one who wins. I'm pregnant with his child. And I am the only young lady of the Gu family." I was packing my bags. My new house had already been renovated. Seeing Shen Yao's smug face, I couldn't help but find it amusing. "Congratulations. Congratulations. Wishing you a solid lock. Aren't you jealous?" "Why would I be jealous of a stand-in?" I pointed at the ultrasound report. "This report is quite well done, except for one common mistake. The size of the gestational sac doesn't match the gestational age. I suggest next time you find a more professional graphic designer for the forgery. Xin Yao's face changed dramatically. You're talking nonsense. Whether it's nonsense or not, just check at the hospital and you'll know. I grabbed my suitcase. But this has nothing to do with me anymore. I'm moving out tomorrow. And I won't be participating in your melodrama. On the day I moved, the whole family came to see me off. Madame Sheng cried sincerely. Qing Rua, are you really leaving? The house is so big. Mom, distance makes the heart grow fonder. I hugged her. I'll come back to visit, often bringing gifts. Like a real guest. Mr. Shin handed me a card. There's some money inside. Keep it on hand. I didn't refuse and took it. Thank you, Dad. I'll consider it an investment in your retirement fund and report the returns to you regularly. Shinny stood awkwardly to the side. Hey, if you get bullied, just mention my name. No need. Calling the police is quicker. I pulled my suitcase and walked out of the Shin family's villa gate. The sun was shining brightly, and the air was fresh. The system in my head cheerfully chimed. Ding. 5 million in dividends has been credited to your account. I glanced back at that resplendent yet suffocating villa. Goodbye to the melodrama of the true and false heiresses. From now on, I am Su Qingxing, a cheerful rich woman with millions in assets, stable emotions, and perfect logic. As for Xin Yao and Gu Beichen, on the day of the wedding, it was said that Gu Beichen discovered Xin Yao's fake pregnancy and immediately called off the wedding. The Xin family and the Gu family fell out, and stock prices plummeted. However, that is a different story altogether. After all, I have already blocked them all. That's quite normal. Ineffective socializing is not as good as making money.